Well, we're here again with Wall Street Silver for another AMA Ask Me Anything. And today we have a special guest, John Miniotis. He's the CEO of AbraSilver, which used to be AbraPlata. So thank you for joining us today, John. We appreciate you making the time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Well, the first thing I got to ask is last week you just changed the name of your company. It used to be AbraPlata. And as any good silver mining company should, you've changed it and now inserted the word silver into your name. Although someone on Twitter told me your former name was also plata, means silver in Spanish. So you already had silver. You're just changing it now for American and Canadian investors, so to speak.
Correct. Yeah. No. So I think, the name overall, I think AbraSilver just better reflects who we are as a company. Mm-hmm. So the company's focus, of course, hasn't changed. It's always been on silver. We have one of the largest advanced stage primary silver projects out there. And like you just mentioned, I mean, Spanish, of course, in Spanish, plata means silver. And so we literally just translated that portion of our name. And, I think the new name just reflects, look, we're a Canadian-based silver company. We want to make that clear to our North American investors. And we feel we're rapidly emerging as one of the premier silver exploration plays out there. And just want to make sure that nothing's getting lost in translation.
Yeah, it makes total sense, just from a defining the company type of point of view. So let's dive right into the questions. We got a lot of questions on Twitter and from our Redditors. You have multiple projects, at last count 4, or there's a 5th one now, but your main focus is Diablillos. I'm hoping I pronounced that right, in Argentina. Is that correct?
Close enough. I know which one you mean.
Yeah, you better know which one I mean.
Yeah, no, for sure. So our flagship project is called Diablillos. It's for sure our main asset. It's in one of the top mining jurisdictions in all of Latin America. It's in the Salta province in Argentina. It's quite a large scale project. So it already has over 140 million ounces on a silver equivalent basis, and that's growing very, very rapidly here. And so there was a preliminary economic study done on the project back in 2018. Which shows this project is already very highly economic, but really our focus has been on drilling, expanding it, looking to grow the resource base further. Mm-hmm. And I'd say our exploration team has just managed to do a remarkably consistent job on that front, and witnessed by, again, some stellar results that we came out with this morning, which I'm happy to talk about as well.
Yeah, let's dive right into that, because that's one of the reasons we wanted to get you on. Let's go through the drilling results that you announced. Give us a quick little 2-minute summary, if you could.
Yeah. So we announced 3.5 holes. Unfortunately, because of the delays with COVID, there's I think globally there's just been delays in receiving back drill results, and so we've only received a partial hole, a portion of one of the holes. But that was already so far, it seems like a world-class silver intercept that we intersected here. So over 17 meters of 1,500 grams per ton in that partial hole. Now, importantly, I can't stress this enough. I mean, this is in oxides. This is close to surface within a defined sort of open pit.
These are shallow, low-cost type of resources that you're finding, is what you're saying.
Exactly. That's exactly. Good. This is not, deep, narrow vein, veins that we're chasing here. This is within conceptual open pit, and that 17 meters of 1,500 grams was in a much broader 80-meter intercept with excellent grade, so over 500 grams per ton on a silver equivalent basis for that 80 meters. And the kicker is this is only less than half of the hole that we've received so far. So we're still waiting for the first 160 meters of this hole, so the shallowest portion. And we've found native silver in part of that portion that hasn't been announced yet. And so this really has the potential. I mean, we obviously have to wait and see. We don't know what the results are from that 160 meters, but certainly this has the potential to be truly a world-class intercept here. And I'm not using that language lightly. I think this is
Yeah, I recall a chart that a good friend of mine online posted last year of the top 20 intercepts of last year, 2020, and this sounds like it's probably at the lower. It's in that top 25 to 30 if this had been in the year 2020, isn't it? In terms of the intercept results.
Yeah, well, we don't know yet. That's the thing. So we have 80 meters already. I mean, how much further does it extend? I mean, there's still 160 meters to be defined. So certainly, I think it classifies. But importantly, I'd say the vast majority of the other intercepts. So when you get over a kilo intercepts in the gold space, it's generally within sulfides, generally sort of deeper. You don't generally get widths like this. I mean, we've come out earlier within the same exploration program. We announced an earlier intercept. I think it was like 18 meters of 600 grams gold or silver. And so, that's generally seen as a very good intercept, but to get 80 meters of, 500 grams, wow. 80 meters currently, I mean, I think it's much better than certainly we expected. And so we're keen to get the remainder of the hole, to say the least.
In previous interviews, you've sort of defined your resources at around 140 million ounces of silver equivalent. That's a combination of gold and silver, but you're measuring it in silver equivalents. Right. Do these new results, is this about confirming that, or are these new results so good that it has the potential to expand beyond that previous 140 million estimate that you've made?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, so certainly. So the entire drill program, so we're just finalizing a 13,000 meter drill program here. And really the purpose of that program was to expand the existing resource. So we already have within the indicated category, 80 million ounces of silver, 730,000 ounces of gold. And really the focus of the program has really been more so on the gold side. We think there's very significant potential to increase the gold tonnage and grades. And of course, drill results like this, I mean, surely you can add a lot of silver ounces as well. And so we're looking to expand the existing resource, but still focused on just the oxides. So some of the drilling that we've announced over the past few months has gone deeper into the sulfides, and we've gotten some excellent sulfide hits as well. And so, that represents more blue sky potential. We'll likely follow those holes up in the next round of drilling. But for now, the purpose is to increase the oxide portion of the resource, and then come out with an updated PA study within the next 6 months here.
So what would when are you expecting more of these? You said some of the drill results are still outstanding. When are you expecting that additional data that you'll be able to announce?
Correct. So these holes have been drilled back in December. So unfortunately, we've been expecting it for quite a while now. There's been delays globally, as talking.
These are independent third-party confirmations of your results, right? That you're waiting on, not your own interpretation of the data.
Yeah. No, we send it to a lab, an independent lab down. Okay. It's in Lima, Peru. So there's logistic issues, transportation issues. But anyways, I mean, the results are coming in slowly but surely. And so, I'd say, we should have results every few weeks here. And that's why we've been coming out with press releases as we get 2, 3, 4 holes in. We announce it, but certainly as soon as we get the rest of this hole, assuming it's well mineralized, we'll certainly announce that. So it could be, it's a matter of a week or two, I'd say, before we get the remaining results from this hole 27.
Awesome. Now, John,
Ivan, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's an absolute pleasure having you on here, John. Like, from the Wall Street Silver community on Reddit, we really appreciate you. One of the questions from our members is, at what price of gold or silver does your project need to be viable?
Yeah, so that's one of the benefits. So the PA study was completed back in 2018. It used what's currently considered very, very conservative commodity prices. So at $20 silver and $1,300 gold were the long-term commodity price assumptions assumed then. Based on that price deck and using the existing resource, and not including any of the drilling, of course, that we've done subsequent, this project already has a 30% after-tax rate of return.
Wow.
So 30% IRR. So the NPV of the project at $1,300 gold, $20 silver is over $330 million. And so, this is a project that's, because of the high grades and because it's close to surface within oxides, cash costs here are all in sustaining on a silver equivalent basis are like $7.50 an ounce silver. So very, very high margin. And of course, we're expanding, we're proving that the resource is going to grow quite significantly, hopefully, and coming out with updated, commodity price assumptions, et cetera. But even at $20 silver, even using the old or the existing resource, this project's already economic. And so that's why we're fast tracking it as quickly as we can forward.
Wow.
This is one of the few projects where I think you get those kind of economics at $20 silver.
Understood. Next question we have from one of our Redditors is Eric Sprott, who's very popular in our community. He's invested twice now on 2 rounds with you, once in July of last year, and then again right away in August of last year. I think it was 3 million one time and then 10 million another time, which is obviously a great endorsement that Eric Sprott believes in your company. And I assume he's done his due diligence and he thought, yeah, this is a viable mine. But with Eric Sprott coming on as probably your largest investor, that brings a lot of attention to you in the silver community, and also a lot of pressure, obviously, to succeed. There's a lot of eyes on you right now. How are you handling it? Let us know what you're thinking on that.
Yeah. No, so of course, I mean, we're very excited ourselves having Eric Sprott's clearly a legendary mining investor. I mean, I couldn't think of a better shareholder. If I could pick anyone to be our top shareholder, he'd certainly be around the top of the list there. So we're delighted to have his support, his endorsement. As you mentioned, he came in this past summer, led our 2 previous financings. He now owns 16% of the company. But I think we're also very fortunate, alongside of Eric, to have both Altius Minerals and SSR Mining as well as very supportive shareholders. So combined, the 3 of them own close to 40% of the company.
Wow.
So we're in very, very strong hands. Those shares, I'd like to say, none of those parties have sold a single share. And so, the shareholder base is, very strong, very supportive. I'd say, we're continuing to deliver. I mean, time and time again here, we're coming out with draw results. So I think we're living up to our end of the expectation. Is this project has significant potential to grow. And that's our focus, is just proving how big, how economic this project can be. And so that, very, very clear focus for us, and very much aligned with our largest shareholders.
Ivan, do you have another question?
Yes, sir. So, John, we have a question here from our community members. One of them is, tell us about mining in Argentina. In the media, we hear about the country being difficult to business in, capital controls of getting money out, etc. What is the risk level you are dealing with right now, John?
Yeah. So no, I'm very, very happy you asked that question. So without a doubt, that's certainly the biggest misconception I think that exists in our share price at the moment. And that's, on the flip side, I mean, that's one of the biggest opportunities. And so in Argentina, I guess first and foremost, it's important to understand the provinces own the mineral resources. Each of the provinces are very highly autonomous. So each province has their own set of mining legislations, mining regulations. You deal with the provinces on permitting, et cetera. And so there's a wide range because of that. So you have certain mining provinces where there's been large projects that have garnered a lot of headline noise. They've been unable to advance those projects. And those are in provinces on one end of the spectrum. On the complete other end of the spectrum, which doesn't really get reported, unfortunately, you have a province like Salta. So in Salta, it's well known for lithium mining. We're surrounded by lithium mines, but also for gold and copper as well as in silver, of course. And so you have large companies. So you have Fortuna Silver has just completed construction, or not just, within the last 3 to 6 months here, completed construction of the Lindero Gold Project, spent over $300 million on that. That's going very well for them. They received their permits there in relatively short order. Certainly no issues there. You have First Quantum, who's invested heavily within Salta. So they acquired the Taka Taka project, spent $600 million just to acquire that. To build that would be a multi-billion-dollar project. You have Barrick, who's now in the Salta province as well. And so, you have corporates clearly understanding that this is, Salta's open for business, for mining. And so, there's a big disconnect between what's actually going on in the ground, and of course you have us and others sort of exploring there. So there's a very big disconnect between what's going on in the ground and sort of the overall perception from North American investors. And I'd say, even aside from the corporates spending money in the ground and successfully buying and building projects, the Fraser Institute, well known, obviously global studies that they come out with each year. So they rank mining jurisdictions globally. And when they rank Latin America, Argentina is the only country within Latin America that they actually break down by province because of the wide variance. And so they just came out with their latest report. So the 2020 study was just released like a few weeks ago. Salta was ranked #1.
Oh, no way.
all of Latin America, so including Chile. I mean, Chile's always been at the forefront of the survey.
You're just referring to that one specific province within Argentina,
exactly.
where you're operating is very favorable and goes against the grain for the typical expectation for Argentina.
For sure. And there are certainly other very favorable provinces within Argentina as well. So San Juan is very well known, being pro-mining. But yeah, no, it's, we're not trading as if we're in the best jurisdiction. I think that's a misconception. People think of Argentina, like you said, they think of capital controls. On that front, I mean, there's been companies operating there for well over a decade. I mean, Barrick, Newmont, Glencore, Yamana, have all been operating in Argentina for,
oh, then
decades.
It's fine.
And have never had any issues with drawing cash. And so, I'd say people, it pays to kind of dig in a bit deeper than just the headlines. Yeah. And Salta's, without a doubt, one of the premier jurisdictions, not only in Argentina, but in all of Latin America.
Gotcha.
Very good answer. Thank you.
How much cash? I heard in a recent interview you did back in December, you were at about 18 million cash on hand. Which, it's understood you're not a revenue producing company. You're an exploration development type of company in the silver mining space. Where are you at right now on cash, and what's your budget look like for the rest of the year?
Yeah, no, so we're still at similar cash levels. And so we have, in addition to that $18 million, I mean, we have like $40 million of warrants that are in the money. Nice. And certainly those are being exercised, on a gradual basis as investors choose. So that continues to bring cash into the door for us. So we're still sitting at $17-18 million today. So the cash balance is largely unchanged. In terms of our exploration program, so we're finalizing this 13,000 meter program. This will be finalized within the next 2-3 weeks here. Once we get all those results, that's going to go into the updated resource that we mentioned and the updated study, which will come out within the next 6 months. And then we'll announce sort of our next phase exploration program. I mean, there's clearly a ton of targets here. We'll continue to have 2 drill rigs going. But yeah, the 13,000 meter drill program costs $4 million. I mean, if you assume we have another similar stage program, it's going to be another $4 million. So the key is we're fully funded to get this project all the way to a construction decision. So we're funded for the next phase of exploration, for the PA study, for the ultimate feasibility study after that. And we can get this project all the way permitted, ready to commence construction within 2 years.
So nothing's changed since December. You don't anticipate needing to raise cash again for 2021. You're confident of that at this point. Not maybe 2022 if you make a decision to go further in the project, and that's where you are right now.
Yeah, at the moment we're fully funded for all of 21, all of 2022.
Good.
Now,
all of 22. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, we're fully funded all the way to a construction decision, which could be early 2023. And now, a caveat is if we come across an extraordinary opportunity, an acquisition opportunity, something outside that. There's currently no plans of that, but you never know. I mean, obviously, if we come across something, or we make a massive new discovery and have to get 6 rigs going on site, and we could need some extra capital. But for what we see for right now, for the next 2 years, we're fully funded.
How many rigs do you have on site right now?
2 rigs.
2? Okay.
That's good.
Ivan, do you have another question?
Yes, sir. We have a question for our Redditors for you, John. And they're saying, how much of AbraSilver do you personally own? How many stock options are out there? Our members want to know how much the top executives have riding on this, if you can answer that.
Yeah, no, of course. So it's all public information.
Okay, good.
So between myself and the board members, so we own 3% of the company. So me personally, I would have about 3 million shares. That's between, a portion of those are restricted shares, and probably 2/3 are shares that I've purchased openly in the open market, and of course I've participated in the financings myself. And so it's a very lean management team, very lean on board. So if we had an extra 10-15 employees, of course that management insider ownership would be significantly higher. But we're running this extremely lean. But certainly, I mean, myself and a lot of our board members, I mean, this represents a huge portion of our net worth. So we have a lot of skin in the game.
Yeah, I think at least investors like myself, I like to see that, that you guys are invested and not just there for draining, pulling cash out of the company. We want to see upside for the senior management also.
Absolutely.
So I saw from previous reports that Rio Tinto has a deal on not on the Argentina project, but Rio Tinto has a deal on one of your other projects. Where are you with that project? Is there any update going on?
Yeah. So Diablillos, of course, is our flagship, but in addition to Diablillos, we have 3 other earlier stage projects. But all of those are, potential to be quite significant, we feel, for the company down the road. So in Chile, we actually have 1 project in Chile, the rest are in Argentina. In Chile, we have a very large land package. So it's over 50,000 hectares of land in the premier copper belt in the world, in the Antofagasta region. So we own 100% of that project. There's several targets there. It's mostly copper gold porphyry targets. And we brought in Rio Tinto as a partner to help us explore that. So Rio Tinto has the right to earn in up to 75% by spending $25 million US on exploration. And so we keep the remaining 25%, but we wouldn't have to spend anything from our own treasury. And so, Rio Tinto is expecting to commence there shortly. I mean, it's certainly been delayed. It was supposed to be Q4 of last year, been delayed due to COVID. We're expecting within the next several weeks. I mean, hopefully no later than a few months. We should have an announcement there, but Rio Tinto is planning a 2,000-meter drill program there.
Wow.
We're keenly waiting for them to commence drilling, of course.
So by the end of, most of your active investors are looking for information out of Argentina, because obviously that's the flagship. But I like to look at it more longer term myself. You might be announcing some drill results through your partner Rio Tinto by the end of the year, perhaps. Is that something, or is that too soon to know about?
So certainly, no, without question, unless there's, of course, significant delays. But certainly by the end of the year, for sure. By the end of Q2, potentially even.
Yeah, I just like to. I think a lot of investors just want to know what are the catalysts out there for the next 6 to 12 months that we can maybe be expecting. That's why I just wanted to sort of define that time frame. Ivan?
Yes, sir. We have another question for you here, John. What is the location like in Argentina? Are there any issues with road access, water supply, power supply? Will it be a difficult area to build a future mine due to remoteness?
Yeah, so we're high plains desert environment. So there's some pictures, like landscape photos, in our corporate presentation. So this is, it's essentially, it looks like you're in Nevada. So it's barren sort of land. There's no, fauna. There's no flora anywhere nearby. But it's certainly much higher elevation. So you're up at 4,000 meters elevation. But because there's multiple lithium, there's multiple borat mines operating around us, the road access is very, very good. So we drive all the way up to site, all weather roads.
Nice.
There's a natural gas pipeline that goes within 30 kilometers from our site. There's actually discussions of the government building another natural gas pipeline that could potentially go even closer. There's sufficient water. I mean, we're doing some studies on the water right now, but there's been 5 wells that I believe have been drilled in the past, and we'll be doing some additional drilling for subterranean water, but that does not seem to be an issue. There's no communities at all nearby, so this is quite remote. So from that perspective, I mean, it really is the ideal place where you could put an open pit operation. So very, very, I'd say relatively, I mean, low permitting risk. And so, you know, I think from a location, we can drill year round. So of course we drilled all throughout the winter season there, this past winter. So there was certainly no issues. So it's you know, we're very, very pleased. For sure, with the infrastructure that's in place, and this can easily be developed into a mining camp.
Now, John, what got you started into all this? Like, what was your first job, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, no, I've been in the mining industry my entire career.
Nice.
So about 16, 17 years now. And so, yeah, no, I'd say I got involved in mining pretty serendipitously. So really just mostly by chance more than anything. So I graduated from the University of Toronto with a finance degree.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Did you graduate from there?
No, I'm in Canada. That's why.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought you were a fellow alumni. But yeah, so graduating from U of T, finance, you know, coming out of school, I was really just focused on getting a job in investment banking. And so as I was applying, I came across a posting for a corporate development position at Barrick Gold.
No way.
And I honestly had no idea what corporate development was. But thankfully, I looked into it, realized it's essentially in-house investment banking. And so anyways, I ended up getting that job. And that was really my first experience in mining. I really fell in love with the industry from there.
Wow.
And so since then, of course, been very fortunate. I've worked with some great mining companies. So Barrick, Lundin Mining, Orico Metals, which was a spin-off. And we ultimately sold that company to Centerra for $310 million.
Wow.
So that was a great win. And now, of course, running AbraSilver. And, you know, I think the focus throughout my career has just been helping companies grow and create shareholder value. And without a doubt, that's what we're looking to do here.
Good job.
Gotcha. Sounds good. So the strategy for your team is not really to build the mine. You guys are looking, or just correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are looking to develop the resource, define it better, get all the permitting in place, basically so you can hand it off and sell this project to a larger producer partner. Is that the plan?
So yeah, so our focus is to de-risk this company, to de-risk the project, advance it forward, and that would certainly unlock value. And so certainly larger mining companies are very oftentimes willing to pay a lot more for a project as it's, you know, closer to construction, has permits in place, you've proven out the upside. And so, you know, our focus right now is we have sort of a 24-month clock here where we're looking to put out the new results, the PA study, go straight into a feasibility study, start the environmental permitting process as well, and then deliver the feasibility study with permits in hand. And then within less than 2 years, we think this is a project that'll be ready to be constructed. Currently, we don't have the team to construct it ourselves, but certainly, I mean, with a project, high quality project like this, you can, you know, attract the right team if needed. So once we have the project de-risked, we've added significant value, we'll assess our options. I mean, if we need to add, you know, transform the team, add, you know, a number of team members that could help construct this project, we'll do that. Otherwise, yeah, one logical opportunity is to look to create value by selling the project or partnering with someone. I mean, there's a lot of different options that you can go down at the right time. We'll evaluate all of those.
Well, so you have several, you know, besides the one in Chile and the one in Argentina, you have several other projects. Is there any activity on those, or are you sort of just holding those in your back pocket for after the Argentina project?
So we have, Diablillos, of course, and Salta is a flagship. Arcus, I mentioned, Rio Tinto should commence drilling there quite imminently, like within the next few weeks or months. Then we have 2 other projects that we expect to either be drilling ourselves or bring in a partner by year end. Nice. So we have 2 projects in San Juan province in Argentina. Again, a very mining friendly province. One of them is called La Coipita. It's very similar to Arcus, just given it's a large land package, 50,000 hectares, was formerly owned by Teck. They dropped it. And, there's been a number of very interesting historical drill results. So we picked up that project and we could be drilling there. Again, that's for a big copper gold porphyry.
Nice.
And so, we either bring in a partner there, drill that ourselves, see if we can make an initial discovery. And then those other projects, again, we could look to monetize those, spin those off into a new company. I mean, there's, we'll look to generate as much value from these other projects as we can. But first step is, of course, we need to have drill programs on these other properties. And so we'll be drilling, not only Diablillos, but potentially La Coipita and our other project, Santo Domingo, by the end of this year. So we'll have 4 active projects before year end.
And that's all covered in the budget with your 18 million cash and the warrants that are gradually bringing cash in the door.
Correct.
It's all in the plan. Gotcha.
Correct. Yeah.
Last question I have, really. We've covered, I think all the basics of what I think our Redditors and I think investors are interested in. But something I got to point out on Twitter, lots of people cited your company as literally their favorite small miner exploration stock.
Yep. It's true.
Literally, I announced I was going to be interviewing you, and I had like some major sized Twitter accounts actually get excited because they wanted an update. So what makes your company different there's dozens of small silver mining companies. What's going on with your company that is getting, you're probably I would say you're in the top 5 in terms of small silver companies, in terms of the crowd that I listen to on Twitter. So what do you think's making people feel that way about you?
Well, no, it's certainly amazing to hear. I had no idea.
Maybe I'm listening to the wrong. Maybe I'm listening to the wrong people. But I'm talking about small silver exploration companies. Literally, they tell me you're one of their favorites.
Yeah, and excellent. No, but very happy to hear that. I do think. I mean, we certainly stand out. Look, within the silver space, you look around. I mean, certainly silver has very strong fundamentals. We all know that on the demand side. But on the supply side, I mean, where are all the new projects going to come from? I think that's the key question here. There are very few large-scale silver projects near development right now. Certainly, we're one of the very few that stand out. So we could be producing upwards of 10 million ounces a year of silver. There's very high scarcity value. And clearly, with the drill results that we're coming out with, I mean, that has potential to grow, of course, as we grow the project. So I think, people see that this is quite an asymmetric opportunity. So on the downside, because we already have a PA that shows we're profitable, it already has an NPV, so a net present value of the project at $20 silver, $1,300 gold. The net present value is 80 cents per share. We're trading at 40, so we're trading at half of the value based on the old resource, based on outdated commodity prices. And meanwhile, we're just continually, press release after press release coming out with very significant, not only silver intercepts, gold intercepts, but also copper intercepts as well at this project. So there's significant upside potential that's not being priced in. Wow. I think that's why we're clearly working as fast as possible to deliver this updated resource, this updated PA study. Once that's out, I think that'll be able to crystallize the value. Look, this is based on the latest figures here, the latest drill results using more realistic commodity price assumptions. What's the value of this project, and compare that to our current share price. And, I think at that time, if this big disconnect still exists, I'm not sure what else I'll do. I'll be banging on table and walking around with a neon sign saying, but, this is one of the very few projects I think that at this stage, already this large, already this economic, but trading at a significant discount. And going back to the comments on Argentina, I think that for sure plays a large, a large factor. But I think over time, people will start realizing that this is a mining-friendly jurisdiction. This is a highly scarce project, and we're advancing this, and the share price ultimately has to catch up.
Well, what you said about scarcity, I follow the global silver mining types of numbers. A lot of people aren't aware that global mining production for silver peaked back in 2015, 2016 at about 900 million ounces. And ever since then, it's been in a decline to the point where last year it was just right around 800 million ounces, whereas demand is growing with solar panels, battery packs, electric cars, investment demand. I mean, some of the numbers we've seen for bullion and coins and bars from the investment community have skyrocketed in 2020 in terms of people having concerns about inflation, money printing. I mean, it sounds like you're bringing to the market, or potentially a big project, decent sized project. I won't say huge, but we'll say decent sized level of resources at a time when the supply is just going to be in decline in a couple of years. And so your timing might be absolutely perfect, I'm thinking. That's why, I mean, just for full disclosure, I am an investor in your company to a small amount. So I was familiar with your projects before we brought you on. But what's your thought in terms of the timing? And I'm sure you're all the numbers I just threw out, I'm sure you're aware of already for production. What's your thoughts in those areas in terms of timing?
No, so the timing could, all the stars could be aligning here for sure. I think everyone just has to be patient. Of course, everyone wants silver to go to $80 by tomorrow. I do too, but yeah, I think more realistically, as you said, the fundamentals couldn't be better. I mean, what more favorable market conditions could you possibly have, imagined? So like you say, I mean, on the industrial side, whether it's solar panels, electrification of vehicles, build out of the 5G network, I mean, silver is an essential component in all of that. So industrial side demand is clearly increasing. On the monetary side, I think, unfortunately, we're living in an episode of government's gone wild here. Yeah. So we got global bankers, central banks just printing money, propping up the economy by printing trillions of dollars out of thin air. I mean, clearly that's going to lead to increased inflation. That's going to lead to, devaluation of fiat currencies. That all seems quite inevitable, but of course, will take time to play out. And then, like you said, in terms of silver projects, there aren't many. I mean, I could count on a handful, maybe two hands at the most, in terms of how many, good-sized projects, especially primary silver projects, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Silver, gold, precious metal focused silver gold projects are out there. It's very, very few. So this is very high scarcity value here. And timing could be perfect. I mean, as things, we're just in the early innings of this silver bull market. You look at previous cycles. I mean, silver, I think over the last 3 cycles has gone up over 600%. We might be up 60% in the last 12, 18 months here. Since the current bull market started. So, 2-3 years down the road, so the
leverage
materially higher.
Yeah. The leverage your project brings just an incredible amount of leverage if silver does start hitting those $30-$40 an ounce types of prices.
Yeah. So for every dollar the silver price rises, our net present value of a project under the old resource or the current resource goes up by $30 million. And same with gold. So for every $100 ounce in the gold price, another $30 million. So $1,600.
Your current market cap is in the
160.
So we're talking
material percentage for a $1 increase.
Yeah, silver getting solidly above 30, and I know you can't comment on it, but I would expect your stock to take off. Just start going vertical.
Oh yeah.
But are you surprised that silver and gold have not responded to, fundamentally, you hear the news out there about, and if this is something you don't want to talk about, I understand. If you do feel comfortable commenting, great. But it would seem with the money printing going on out there, I would have expected gold and silver to respond far more strongly to just the daily news that we're seeing. Do you have any thoughts on maybe why silver and gold are not? You've been in the industry a long time. I'd like to get your opinion.
Yeah, no, so having been in the industry quite a long time, I think I'm quite used to it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, silver and gold prices historically have kind of taken the stairs up and then the elevator down. And so it clearly takes a long time sort of to build momentum until, you have all the right conditions in place like we did this past summer. And then it's like flicking on a light switch.
The bubble will pop.
Silver and gold are off to the races. So we're still waiting for that to develop. I think clearly holding gold down has been the rise in the 10-year treasuries. I mean, back in August, those were at 50 basis points. It's now 150 basis points.
Yeah.
And so as gold, what drives the gold price for sure is real interest rates. And so as real interest rates are declining, gold price tends to do very well. And so you have nominal interest rates at least rising. And so that's been a bit of a headwind for gold, and probably similarly for silver. I mean, silver has performed better than gold, but for sure, I mean, those two are generally well correlated. So as gold's moving higher, you tend to get silver outperforming. So yeah, no, I think it just requires patience, to be honest. I've experienced 10 years of a bear market where it's a lot of patience are required. I don't think that much patience is needed at this stage.
Yeah.
But, silver is not a get rich quick scheme. I mean, if you're buying
don't
silver
tell
today,
that, don't tell that to our members. I'm gonna have to edit that out, John.
we gotta have people's expectations in line, though.
That's
so
right.
I think the fundamentals are strong. It could take months or maybe even up to a few years to really get prices moving, but all the right pieces are in place here. So for me, it's a buying opportunity. I mean, if you see current commodity prices, my outlook is significantly higher than where we're at today in a few years, and so you get opportunities like in AbraSilver where you can take advantage of it, and
Well, thank you very much, John. We really appreciate you making the time today to join us and give us an update on your drill results. And if you've got future drill results that you feel like sharing, we'd love to have you back at that time and chat some more.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for having me. And really, it's my pleasure. And we'll be having lots of drill results. So let's make this a regular thing. I'd be happy to.
Awesome. Right. Well, thank you everyone from the Wall Street Silver community. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jim Lewis. And then hopefully we talk to you all soon. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.